So I spent a considerable amount of time yesterday doing some hand stitching of all these logs, and what I've decided is going to work best is if I cut my pattern pieces out first, then I'm going to serge the seams, then I am going to mend the areas within the pattern pieces that need mending, and then I will clean the quilt. That is just so that I am not spending the next year mending each of these logs if it's a portion of the quilt that I will not be using. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to measure out the pattern pieces, cut the quilt, and serge the seams. When I'm cutting for a quilt, it's really important for me to get original binding along the front edge as well as along the bottom. So this area over here, these pieces are in pretty good shape. So I'm going to be using this front right of my jacket. All right, so there's the front right. And now I need the front left. I don't know how many times I've done that, not reversed the pattern piece. So don't make that mistake. All right, there's my front. Looking pretty good. This quilt is really, really dirty. I cannot wait until I get to wash it, but that looks fabulous. You can see how faded the yellow bars over here, but I sort of love that. Now I need to find a spot where I can cut the back. So I really love the symmetry of this, so when I lay out my pattern piece for the back, I want to make sure that it's as symmetrical as I can get it. You can see how wonky the edges are. Oh, I love that. Look how beautifully that faded. Shoulder, and this area is a little rough, but I should be able to quickly be able to mend that. So I'm going to fold this double so I'm not tracing it, but instead just cutting it once. That's amazing, love it. So this will be back. Super happy with that. So this is what I will be working on mending. Most of the other logs are in fairly good shape. I'm gonna do something here to reinforce that because that's really, really thin right there, but it's still pretty great. So, all right. Now the sleeves. Again, I want them in pretty good shape, as good as I can get it. That's a little frayed, but this spot looks good. Ooh, I sort of love that. And then that is centered on the sleeve, which will be really cool. There's one sleeve. Love it. Go, the second sleeve. All right, and now I am going to look for pocket pieces. And again, I do like to get pocket pieces from along the bottom edge so that I can match them up to so this would make a good pocket. So let's go serge. This is the serger I use. It is a 3-thread single needle serger, and it goes super fast. It's a little terrifying sometimes. Sadly, my serger footage did not turn out, but after serging all the pieces, I moved on to stitching down the loose logs using my machine because I needed it to happen a little bit more quickly than if I did it by hand. So I did these one by one. There were lots of little areas where portions of the logs were loose or unstable, so some of them I only stitched halfway, some of them I stitched the entire way, and I'm glad I did that. It just reinforces the original quilting and makes the jacket more wearable. I did this for the 2 front pieces, the back, and the sleeves. The back was the area that needed the most work. All right, so I have my coat pieces, I have serged the edges, I have machine stitched some simple repairs. I will go back over it later and hand stitch anything else that I pick up later. And now we're gonna get this ready for a bath, and I'm actually gonna cut a swatch, or maybe I'll use one of the pockets to test the fabric, because I think one of the reasons this quilt is so stunning is because of the contrast, the red and the blue with the yellow and the white. However, if this quilt is as old as I think it is, and I think I'm gonna have to do some research on how to clean this because I do not want the red and the blue to run onto the white and the yellow. So I've got some options at home. I usually use Retro Wash, but I've got some other cleaners or detergents, gentle detergents that will keep the colors where they are supposed to be. So stay tuned for the next portion when we clean the quilt. I still have some pieces soaking. I learned that if your quilt bleeds as it's washed, do not throw it in the dryer. Instead,